Hey my cookies! Today I'll be showing you how I make Louisiana crawfish bisque. We got a whole lot to do, so come on y'all, let's cook. I did the unthinkable and managed to save a few pounds of crawfish from our boil we just had last Sunday for this recipe. Y'all gotta know I love you. Okay, so first you gotta peel them. So just twist the head off. You see that yellow stuff? A lot of people think it's fat. It's not. It's delicious. It's an actual organ on the crawfish that kind of functions like our liver functions. So I like to keep that on there as much as I can because it adds so much flavor. But we definitely have to devein these things, okay? Pull that poop line out. What I love about this recipe is nothing goes to waste on the crawfish except for that poop line. We don't need that. But everything else, the shells, the peelings, the claws, all of that we're going to save because we're going to use these peelings to make a delicious stock. Now remember, these crawfish were seasoned well in my crawfish bowl. If you need a recipe on that, click that link in the description box. But anyway, I like to remove the little antenna things, whiskers, whatever you call them off. And when it's time to empty the heads, I just like to stick my finger in and lift everything out. You can use a knife, a butter knife, if you think you may break it, but I just scoop it on out with my finger. Save that because we're going to use it. So all of these heads, I have about 50 to 60 that I saved. So you want to rinse them out really, really well, pat them dry, and set them aside. Now these are all of the peelings, everything we took out of the crawfish head, the claws, all that good stuff. We're going to add them to a pot and cover them with water. Bring it to a boil, lower the heat to medium, and then allow this to simmer for 1 hour so that we can make this beautiful, flavorful stock. As it simmers, I like to take a spoon and just skim that foam off the top of the stock just to keep it nice and clear. Now let's work on the stuffing. In a pan, I like to melt a full stick of butter and then add in my onion, bell pepper, celery, green onion, and garlic. And I just like to saute that around for 5 minutes. Now you want to take some of the crawfish tails you peeled earlier, place them in a food processor, grind them up a bit, and add that to some plain breadcrumbs. Then pour in those sauteed veggies and melted butter, mix everything together and taste it. I didn't need to add anything because the crawfish bowl took care of that. Those tails were seasoned well. So just taste it now before you add the beaten egg and adjust the seasoning as needed. And then this is optional, but I had to add some lump crab meat, y'all. Try it if you can. Bomb. Then I just put the stuffing into a piping bag and used that to fill all of my crawfish heads that I had cleaned with water and dried. Then place all of the stuffed heads onto a parchment paper or foil lined baking sheet and bake on 350 for 30 minutes. Now we can finally work on the bisque. So I add vegetable oil to my Dutch oven. When it's good and hot, I sprinkle in the flour. Now you see me using this metal whisk, okay? I'm not gonna use it for long. I just use it to make sure the flour is good and incorporated into the oil. When the flour is no longer visible, you'll see me switch over to my wooden spoon because the metal whisk will get very hot and that could potentially burn the heck out of your roux. We don't want that. So the good part about this roux, it doesn't need to be as dark as gumbo. So once you achieve this color, like a deepened peanut butter color, you're all good to go. So now I'm just going to add in the onion, celery, and bell pepper and give that a stir. Saute that around for a bit. Now I can add my minced garlic and just saute that for 30 seconds. Y'all know, don't burn it. And here I just add a little bit of tomato paste. If you prefer a more red bisque, then you can add more tomato paste or even tomato sauce. I like mine to be a little more on the brown side. Go ahead and stir that tomato paste out. And now we can strain in that beautiful, beautiful stock. I like to use a mesh strainer and just, get all the little particles that we missed in the initial strain. Y'all know I gotta add a little bit of this stuff for some added heat. So I'm just gonna pour it onto the remaining crawfish tails I have. And then I'm gonna add those tails to our bisque. Here I'm adding in some onion and garlic powder. I don't want to add anything with additional salt. I want to let this simmer on low, let it thicken, and let those flavors from the stock and those crawfish tails develop for a good 20 to 30 minutes uncovered. Then we can add in those stuffed crawfish heads. Continue to simmer on low, uncovered, for another 20 minutes. Then taste it. Make sure that flavor is right. Add any seasonings that you need to. I added nothing because my boil did what it needed to do, okay? That stock was everything. And cookies, all that's left to do is serve it with the hot rice. Thank you guys so much for watching. The recipe link will be down there in the description box. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I gotta eat. Until next time, be blessed.